When we talk about unified ecosystems, sustainability, technology, and of course, real estate, the workplace itself becomes the catalyst for all three. How we design our workplaces, the environments, how we build collaboration into these physical spaces, how we align organizations' purpose with sustainability and well being, all of this truly shapes how future ready GCC truly becomes. So, to set the tone for this part of the conversation, let's take a quick look at a very special AV that showcases how future ready workplaces are being designed. And now with that as a visual cue, it's time for me to invite our esteemed speakers onto the stage to carry this conversation forward. Please put your hands together for COO of REA Cybercity India GCC, Mr. Vikas Wadhawan. Being joined by Head of Workplace Strategy, Space Metrics, Dwani Shah. And to steer this conversation ahead, let's welcome onto the stage partner at Deloitte India, Mr. Abhijataya, Kumar. Over to you, Mr. Kumar.
Thank you. So quick introductions about who we are and what we do. I'm going to take a minute to introduce myself and then I'll ask the panelists to do so. I'm an architect by qualification, a partner with Deloitte in India, and I lead up the corporate real estate advisory solutions for the firm. We're building a lot of GCCs, as some of you may be aware, and I look at the real estate aspect of build-outs, workplace strategy, etc. One of you.
I'm from Space Matrix. We're a design build company, and I do workplace strategy for us. And what we're doing is closely working with GCCs at the moment, because bringing your organization here, setting up and talent, those are the biggest questions we have. Some of it is going to be discussed today. And yeah, that's me.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Vikas. I'm Chief Operating Officer for REA Cybercity. REA Cybercity is Tech Capability Center for REA Group in Australia. We are building and scaling tech capabilities here in India.
Thank you, fellow panelists. I'm going to quickly dive into the questions, right? And all of you all have been exposed to the GCC environment for some time now. We see the way the operating culture at the GCCs are changing, right? Earlier, there were a number of hierarchies. You were going back to the mothership and asking for approvals and changes and, all sorts of things. But it seems to be a little flatter now. Because your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the things are changing very fast from a cost center or a cost-focused capability center. It is completely moving towards innovation, capability, and yes, cost is a byproduct, but that's not the driver. That's not the primary focus. And as you rightly said, even in our case, it's a very clear mandate. It's a decentralized operation with only guidelines from Australia. So we have a lot of autonomy at the local level. All the decision making is local because we need the speed of execution. That's how the entire structure has been devised. The local management has been put in place so that we can run fast, we can scale fast, and we have clear participation in the enterprise OKR. So what the teams are doing, not only at our level, but the tech teams we are building, they're not building the features and they're not just delivering the parts of the product. They are owning the product of our enterprise strategy. So they own the OKR, they own the product, and that's how they deliver.
Sure. So a clear shift from being, let's say, an outsourced shared service center to being a capability center. And you're seeing this across, I guess, even in your peers, across different organizations, there's a vast shift. So Dwani, when you interact with GCCs to help them build design and workplace strategy, how do you look at the context of how the GCC of the future is? Do you see a lot of indigenization, some amount of local context setting in terms of the workspaces?
A very high amount of local context setting, actually. But more than context, it's also dependent on two other major factors. One is the industry that the GCC has been set up for, and the second is the people you're hiring.
Sure.
Oftentimes, the industry, there's a clear divide even in GCCs, right? Tech GCCs, non-tech GCCs. If it's a tech GCC, you're hiring your average startup DNA kids off of schools, colleges, fresh graduates, etc. The non-tech DNA, right? It's still a very serious job. If you look at tech, we're talking about agility in an office, very young, very startup looking office. But as soon as it's non-tech, it can be an FNA, it can be HR, it can be talent teams, etc. They're still working in individualistic patterns even within GCCs.
Okay.
And that sort of the attendance, yes, it drives your GCC and your setup and your real estate footprint maybe, but it does not necessarily change how you're working, except for the fact that you've gotten flatter and more independent and individualistic.
Sure. I mean, interesting perspectives. What about sustainability? There is a humongous push across the globe, ESG, net zero, having sustainable office spaces. I interact with a lot of clients, and some of them come and tell me, "ये तो tick in the box hai." I mean, does it really add any value to me as an organization? My mothership is telling me to do this, so I might as well, right? So, do you see such conversations, or is there an evolution in terms of sustainability and the way that is looked upon in India today?
There is intent. There isn't too much evolution, unfortunately. What's happening is it's being driven by your mothership and your global counterparts, but India itself does not have any legalities or policy-driven necessities for ESG, right? We don't have a very robust system for it, for mapping or measuring or
Sure.
for implementing. Because of that, there are only three ways in which I think certifications are one major part of how you can drive sustainability. Your LEED and WELL certifications. LEED on the side of infrastructure, WELL on the side of infrastructure, plus policy, social governance, etc., etc. So these are, these are the only two ways in sustainability is being enforced per se. But one good thing and great thing that has happened on that front is green energy and our dependence
Sure.
on it. And actively people are pursuing both better water management and
Right.
better energy consumption patterns,
Right.
which I think is a healthy step in the direction of sustainable
Sure.
practices. Waste management hasn't gotten that far though.
So, I mean, we are in India after all, right? So, Vikas, what about sustainability for you? Does it feature in your real estate or even in your operations? Do you really have a focus on that? I'm sure, there would be a global mandate, but have you been able to translate that into something local as in today?
Yeah, so let me first answer if it is a tick the box or how important that is for an organization. I think it all depends on how you're taking some of these initiatives. If you're taking some of these initiatives as tick the box, then it'll translate into a tick the box exercise
Right.
throughout the organization.
Right, of course.
But if you actually define the purpose, why behind it, and translate that into the initiative, like, are you driving this initiative to drive efficiency, to drive productivity? It helps you in your brand reputation. It helps you position you as a responsible organization. Then you can elevate the entire initiative to a different level and do it with a lot more rigor and a purpose. We are right now at a very early stage as an organization. We started just 1 year back,
Right.
and right now we've been operating in a co-working space with 150 people. But yes, there is a lot of discussion happening because we are looking our own office space now. We're going to be moving into our own office space in next 6 to 9 months, and there is a lot of discussion. How do we make that place as a sustainable workplace, because it's not about sustainability. As I said, you need to define the purpose. For us, a workplace is not just a workstation. It is a 3C
Of
construct,
course,
which
of
we
course.
internally discuss. It's a place for collaboration, curiosity, and camaraderie
Right.
among the people. So that's how we look at it. So everything we're going to do from designing our workplace, we'll keep these three aspects in mind.
Sure. And, on a lighter note, with the fantastic air quality in Delhi, the ESG initiatives would obviously, add up, right? I have a client who actually puts a AQI display outside their office and says AQI inside the office and AQI outside the office. So please come to office, right? And, some of their employees have started asking, can I get my family along as well? So, there's a lot of, I think beyond the brand piece, right? There's much to do with ESG, right? I mean, ESG is an important topic. Globally, a lot of motherships have disclosure requirements. A lot of organizations across the globe in India and Europe actually have to put up their ESG initiatives as a part of their stat audit report, and we're seeing a lot of seriousness on that front. In terms of technology and automation, Dwani, do you see, themes like IoT, enabled offices? Do you see smart offices? Do you see enough focus away from the co-working spaces, of course, who brand them, but something else that is happening with this respect in the larger GCC community?
It is actually enablement of smart offices in terms of bookability has been a common factor
Right,
across
right,
every. That's the
right.
basic, most easiest way to do.
Post-COVID, yeah, it's a standard thing.
But the one thing that some very few organizations have started developing is travel management
Right.
for employees, which is a bigger piece in smart
Sure.
offices, because your lighting, your sensors, your HVAC is something that has been going on and has seen a shift easily in the last 7-8 years, even prior to COVID, right? This piece, and secondly, food management, because a lot of GCCs do provide food catering both for lunch, sometimes if it's a 24/7 operation, then even for dinner. And it's very hard to cook in excess and waste that food 3 to 4 times a week. So
Right.
I think food and travel management are those offerings that are seeing the maximum amount of integration. Although on a separate note, there is one thing that we're struggling with is the right kind of AVIT integration that can be scaled or pursued for 5-10+ years, because when you build an office, a lot of your TV AVIT systems are integrated
Right.
before construction.
Sure.
They're designed in a way that they're not plug and play, right?
Right.
With a few offerings that are plug and play. So every time the tech changes, you have to redo a lot of things. It's not as easy as changing your tabletop or chairs in the
Right.
office, which has been a huge struggle, and we're still looking for an inexpensive solution that will last you long enough and let you upgrade as frequently as possible.
Keyword being inexpensive, right?
Inexpensive.
I mean, from an expense perspective, we can all imagine there are enough and more solutions. Now, coming to the GCC of the future, both of you all have worked or advised GCCs in many ways. There has always been this conversation all the way from 21, and now we're going to get into 26 next month, about the hybrid mode of working, right? And we've been talking about it outside of this room also. What's your thought on hybrid? Is hybrid here to stay? Is hybrid going to change? Is it going to be, the real estate of the future could be micro offices across the city as compared to one large office space, because people don't want to travel or don't want to, spend their time on the road? Is that going to be something that's going to be the GCC of the future?
I think hybrid will gonna stay.
Okay.
I don't think we're gonna go back to a fully in office kind of while I'm in office 5 days a week, but I don't think we're gonna go back to, as an organization or as a workforce, we're gonna go back to 5 days a week office. It's gonna be hybrid. It's not gonna be flexible.
Right.
I think more and more organizations are saying mandated 3 days, 4 days, 2 days kind of a work culture, because it's important. See, it's office is not just going to office and working.
Right.
Office is going to office, connecting with your colleagues, learning with your colleagues, feeling the culture of the organization,
Sure.
getting the connection. That is where I think coming back to office is very, very important.
Right.
So it is, that's what I feel. Smaller offices versus one large office, I think one large office, because again, how do you have people connecting with the larger workforce?
Right.
How do you build the culture? If you create smaller islands, it becomes all the more difficult to replicate that culture and replicate that connection in the workforce. But it all depends on the size of the organization. If
Right.
you are a 10,000 member organization, you may create smaller islands or smaller offices of 1,000 each, which is still pretty
Large enough to
from a
mirror
culture
the thing,
or
right?
collaboration perspective. So I think these things will evolve, but hybrid will going to stay. That's what I feel.
Dwani, what about you?
There is both yes and no to this.
No,
a
no,
small
only one
portion,
of two.
no. A small portion of officers who, it's very talent related.
Right.
A small portion of officers who are hiring talent that needs constant training, constant upgradation, and a lot of technical skilling and reskilling
Sure.
will see talent in office frequently.
Okay.
Even as much as 4 to 5 days. The second type that sees talent in office regularly is engineering GCCs,
Right.
hardcore, because
Right.
it's very hard for engineering folks to work out of home in complete quiet and complete silence. And most engineering GCCs are looking at seasoned talent. They're not looking at freshers out of college.
Sure, sure.
Minimum 4 to 5 years. So that group aside, hybrid is here to stay.
Okay.
Because it's very hard to enforce people to say you will, even if you are not hybrid, you're working with US or Europe, you're working on extended calls, so we can't take away complete work-life balance from you in today's date and time. But what does happen is you will do, instead of a full hybrid, that push towards mandated office days
Right.
is going to be back, even for organizations who have avoided it for a very long time.
Sure.
Because there is no other way to build what you were saying, brand, build loyalty, and just keep mental health at check when you meet everybody, meet your team and understand what's happening. Opportunities for to grow, especially for younger people, are better when they have
Of course.
FaceTime with people above, right?
Of
So
course.
that in
If I
keeping.
may just add, in fact, that's precisely the point where you're going to see more and more coming back to office.
Yeah.
She said people are asking for people with 4 to 5 years of experience, right? At some point, you'll suddenly start seeing there are no 4 to 5 years of experience because the fresher talent is not getting trained.
Yeah.
Right, right.
You
Yeah.
have to bring in the fresh talent back in office, train them. It's hard to train people on Zoom calls. It's impossible.
Of course.
Right?
Of course. So while we've had the buzzer going, I'm going to just take a quick opinion poll amongst the audience here. I mean, you all are all from the GCC community, and you've been working across multiple such organizations. How many of you all think that work from office is going to be the future? Quick show of hands, please. I see 2, 3, 4.
That
5.
minor percentage we spoke about.
That's a minor percentage. And hybrid is here to stay. Wow.
Wow.
I think
Resounding,
I think the
vote for this.
resounding vote for hybrid is here to stay. And with that, thank you so much, audience. I know this has been a very short piece, but thank you for participating in this little question as well. And thank you, panelists, for your time and your good insights. And we sincerely hope that the real estate of the future will be slightly different from what we do today. And maybe we'll all see you on that side. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to the panelists.